Neche, your host for the Sports Talk in the Burgh Women's History Month special. I'm here with Sam Dutch and Maddie Kerrigan. We will be covering women's sports today, so let's get into it. The NCAA's tournament is coming to a close with the Final Four scheduled to play for a spot in the championship game. With Iowa, LSU, Virginia Tech, and South Carolina all in contention, who do you think will come out on top? Sam, what do you think?
Thank you so much, first of all, for having us here for this amazing Women's History Month special. It's a blast. I think the really easy answer here is South Carolina, the Gamecocks. They won last year, and not only that, but they are completely undefeated this season. They have not lost a single game. And I just think they have tons of weapons going into this so they can cater to each opponent. They had a different leading scorer in every matchup of the SEC tournament, and they saw 7 players score in double digits over 3 games. And I think with just having such a big roster of talent, also rest plays a big factor into it since they don't just rely on a few key players. They just have a lot of talent coming in and out the court. They're also highly experienced with 10 players averaging 10 minutes or more per game, and only 2 freshmen haven't seen any NCAA tournament game. So I do agree.
I will have to say that South Carolina is definitely the team to beat. However, I do love the energy from LSU's coach, Kim Mulkey. A collegiate basketball player herself, has coached this team obviously all the way to the Final Four. So, I mean, they're really obviously getting down to the wire, and we've seen, I don't know if it's been on anyone else's For You page, all of her amazing outfits that she's been showing off. But, yeah, I think, you know, the Tigers are really going to come out on top.
I think they'll give them a run for their money, but I don't think the pink feathers on her last suit are really going to do them that much.
Oh, really?
See, going into the final, I mean, she looked like she was maybe ready to strut down for, like, the Grammys or something, or fly into the Grammys or something.
Hey, I mean, women's basketball, the Grammys,
sure.
it's like, it's pretty much
like
on the same level.
Show.
It's pretty much on the same level.
I don't know if it'll win them the game, but it definitely makes for some entertaining conversation.
Hey, we'll definitely have to see. You can't have a show with all women and not have to talk about their outfits either.
Oh, I know, obviously.
So.
I loved it other than the feathers, but, yeah.
Well, women's hockey teams have fought hard for the Isabel Cup in the finals. Toronto and Minnesota fought head-to-head, with Toronto taking the lead 4-3. Do you think the right team won? Maddie, what do you think?
I do definitely think that the right team won. The Toronto Six were definitely the most deserving. They were much better than their opponent throughout the whole game, the Minnesota Whitecaps. And this actually won them their first ever Isabel Cup, the Toronto Six. So I definitely think it was very, very a cool win for them, and I think it was even cooler for RMU women's hockey team as well, because we have 2 alumni that played in the game, Lexi Templeman and Brittany Howard. What are your thoughts, Sam?
No, yeah, I agree for sure. I think it's awesome that those 2 players won the match. And I also just think that it was incredible that they came back. I mean, they were down 3-2, went into overtime, they were able to pull out the win, so I just think they were overall outplaying the Whitecaps and that they were able to come back and win. They were second in their regular season. So I think they just were the better team. And they might not have showed that in the score the whole way, but they ended up on top. So I think the better team won in the end.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think it's awesome to, like I said, for these RMU alum to be involved in this game. And now fighting for the 2 hockey programs to come back this next year, I think it's a really exciting thing for them. So
for sure, yeah, couldn't agree more.
With a long list of hardworking women in the NCAA tournament, who do you think is the Women's Player of the Year in basketball?
I'll start off.
Yeah, you start off.
I'll start off. Caitlin Clark. What a name! She's one of 2 front runners for National Player of the Year. The first 40-point triple in either men's or women's. I just want to point that out. Not just women's, men's, or women's. So all this talk on March Madness from the men's side, I think we need to pay some attention to Caitlin Clark here. We've also heard quotes from Steph Curry and Sue Bird about this player, which are just huge to begin with. Steph Curry, I just wanted to say, called her fearless, saying, "We know everything kind of centers around her, but she does a great job at scoring at a high level, but also being a playmaker and distributor." So not only, I mean, we always look at who can have the best threes, who can have the best shots, and she can shoot, speaking of threes, from just about anywhere on the court. She has some crazy threes. But not only that, but she's great at decision-making. She just has so many tools in her toolbox. I mean, all these key players are talking about her. I think going along with South Carolina, it's a no-brainer, but it's just bad.
I'll have to disagree, obviously. I do think Aaliyah Boston, who I know I favored LSU in the beginning, but obviously Aaliyah playing for South Carolina. I favor this girl for Player of the Year. She has become a 2-time All-American, National Defensive Player of the Year, and the record holder for the most consecutive double-doubles. I actually saw a fun story that her father and her sister made a makeshift court dubbed on Boston Arena in her driveway, so she's obviously has it in her family as well. But yeah, her coach, Don Staley, said that I think the beauty of her is her entire body of work. There's not anyone in the country that produces like she produces on the sides of basketball. So
I mean, I can't disagree with you that she's a great player. I have her later on for another question, but I can't disagree with you there. But I just think Caitlin Clark deserves it, and just everything that, you know, her historic 41-point triple-double on Sunday to lead Iowa to the Final Four. I don't know.
We'll
I
see.
think it gives her a run for
we will see, Sam. We will see.
Indiana Fever won the first pick for the women's WNBA. Which women do you think they caught the fever for? What do you think, Sam?
Well, funny enough, this is just when I bring back your favorite, Maddie. We bring back Aaliyah Boston.
We bring her back.
We bring her right back. I don't think she should be Player of the Year, but I do think she should get picked real fast. And first of all, I just want to point out, we always have to point out their wardrobe. I love her bright braids.
I know.
I love the shoes. And I just think she's so much fun. But she has an extra year of eligibility, but I think she's going to end up going pro. And even her coach thinks that she should go pro. She said it was a no-brainer, and she just thinks she's ready for more one-on-one play, and that this defense in the college level doesn't give her a run for her money. So yeah. I think she should be picked first. I don't know if she will or if she'll choose to do another year, but I think I'd pick her first myself.
Yeah, I mean, unlike Aaliyah Boston, like I said, I do favor her. However, Maddie Siegrist, Villanova women's basketball, she's the only one as of now who is in her senior year at Villanova that is declared for the WNBA draft. So I don't know, Aaliyah and Maddie going against each other. I think Maddie just has all the credentials there. She's already ready. She's ready to be in the WNBA. She's done her time at Villanova. She has become the all-time leading scorer this past season. She became the 5th player in Division I women's basketball to score 1,000 points in a season. So she just basically has set all the NCAA tournament program records thus far. So yeah, I definitely think Maddie Siegrist would really, really benefit from this first spot in the WNBA draft.
With the Women's 2023 World FIFA Cup having a wardrobe change, which team did you think had the best kit for the 2023 season? Maddie, what do you think?
So I'm a soccer fan myself. I definitely think that Spain, I don't know if anyone has seen any of the kits thus far, but Spain's, it's like a pastel blue. It really reflects like a coral ocean vibe is kind of what I got from it. It kind of, shows the Spain's 3,000 miles of the coastline similar to those found off the shores of the World Cup's host nation. So I think that was really cool to tie that in as well. Just having the jersey also represent all the different places that these teams are going to be traveling for the Women's 2023 World Cup. So I think Spain definitely takes the cake on this one.
Sure. I love Spain, but I will say my favorite was Japan's. One of my biggest complaints in sports is that we never see pink. I know that, whatever, but I was so excited to see lots of pink on Japan. It really represents the sunsets over Mount Fuji, and it's also linked to the cherry blossoms in Japan, and I just think they're beautiful. I love the stripes as well, the purple and pink. It reminds me of an old pair of soccer socks. I used to have a purple and pink stripes. So I was really pumped to see it. I think they're absolutely gorgeous, and all of the kits in general are just really creative.
I agree. They're very creative.
Just beautiful, and I think it represents the beauty of the sport of soccer. So
I agree. I think they all represent their, countries specifically, and I think that everyone is in for a treat for this World Cup this year.
For sure. Treat.
Personally, I was a fan of Germany's, but I'm not here to debate. Continuing on with Women's FIFA 2023, which team do you guys think is going to win the 2023 World Cup? Sam, what's your opinion?
Oh, well, see, Maddie and I feel the exact same way because it seems like it's an obvious answer of the U.S. I mean, they won, you'll hear lots about this later from me, but they've won the last 2 World Cups. I mean, they're a powerhouse. The girls are back, as I like to say. They won it back in 2019. FIFA came out. They're ranked first for that. They're ranked first in just about everything. 2 out of 3 of the top scorers from the last World Cup came from the U.S., being Alex Morgan and Megan Rapinoe. So they've just entered as defending champions, and I think they're going to get a number 3.
They're coming back. They're coming
back.
back. Hey, third time's a charm, right? No, I'm telling you, they are. They seriously are. This is something that Sam and I just had to agree on because
I know.
there's no other answer. As a retired soccer player, I'm very excited for this year's World Cup.
Yes.
And I'm a personal Alex Morgan fan. I even always wore the pink pre-wrap growing up. You literally had to. But however, if there is a new rising star to look out for this year, it's the 22-year-old Sophia Smith. She's a forward.
For sure.
Definitely up and coming. She's making her way to the top. U.S. women's coach had said that it'll be tough for anyone to take her starting spot this year. So I definitely think she is someone to look out for. She's earned it. She's scoring 14 goals in 18 matches for the Thorns, her NWSL team. As many U.S. soccer fans may be somewhat familiar with her name, the World Cup provides the perfect stage for her to be able to show off and show everyone what she can do. So, USA, we'll be rooting for you.
All the way. Yes.
Thank you so much for watching Sports Talk in the Burgh. We will be back for a little bit after the break.
I'm Julia Wozleski. I am a junior, and I am the editor-in-chief here at Century Media.
I wrote.
Hi, I'm Bailey.
I
I'm
wrote
a
a
junior,
tease.
cinema and photography major, and I am the secretary of RMU Radio.
My name is Beck. I am a freshman.
So my name is Hope Bailey, and I am the head arts and entertainment editor for Century Media. I am the head producer for RMU Live, and I am the copy editor for Colonial Sports Network.
What Century Media as a woman is an opportunity for me to get engaged and involved in things that I really am passionate about and did not have an experience in other organizations in my life.
I joined to really get involved on campus and to really force myself to be there for some of the important moments. And I'm very grateful to have witnessed and covered some great moments on campus, such as the inauguration of Dr. Michelle Patrick as the first female president of RMU.
Being an RMU Century means a lot to me. It means that I get to work with other really strong women that are in leadership.
Sorry for the technical difficulties there. Here at RMU, female teams have a wealth of talent across the board, with each vying for a spot in the playoffs. Maddie, who do you think has the potential to not only make it to the playoffs, but win their entire division?
So I definitely think in this next coming year that the women's soccer team will be coming out on top to win their conference. They had a great season this past year. It's looking like it will continue into next year with a younger roster. It's easy to say for these girls, the younger girls, that they have now this year under their belt and they're able to, come out on top for next year and help the girls win a conference title. Upcoming sophomore Elisa Corvalon was actually selected in February to train for the Chile's women's national team. So she will definitely be a player to keep an eye on in this upcoming seasons for the conference play. But that's my vote. Women's soccer. Women's soccer.
I know I wasn't ordered for women's soccer, but in the spirit of looking at other organizations, I went with softball. Okay. They're fresh in. I mean, they've only played I don't know how many games. They've only played around 4 or 5 conference games, but they currently hold the 2nd best record overall. And 3rd highest win percentage. So I think they're looking very promising. I think they're getting, some great reps under their belt. And I just could see it happening. I think soccer also is a really great choice, but I'm excited to see where these softball girls take things this year. So, yeah.
Great. Both great choices.
Yes.
While team efforts are always focused on the main focus, it's hard to ignore some of the individuals that help propel these teams to success. Across all of the female teams here on campus, from basketball to lacrosse to softball, who do you think is the best female athlete at RMU?
Are we going to me first?
Sure.
So I actually went with the best female athlete of all time at RMU. I chose Brianne McLaughlin. She was the RMU women's hockey goalie from 2006 to 2009. Incredible statistics that this woman has. She set the NCAA record with a total of 3,809 saves. In just her last year with the Colonials, she earned the team 9 of their 12 wins. She was selected as CHA Defensive Player of the Week 3 times during her season. She earned first team All-CHA accolades, selected to compete in the Women's Under-22 series. I could go on for days, honestly. But I think her biggest accomplishment would obviously be competing in the Winter Olympics. In 2014, they were in Russia, as well as she competed in the 2010 Vancouver Olympic Games as well. So she was also a big part of helping these programs get back on their feet for next year as well. And she is the men's goaltending coach as well. So she just does it all. So I definitely think Brianne McLaughlin would be my vote.
Oh, for sure. She's definitely out there at the top of my list. It's so hard to pick one.
I
There's
know,
so
right?
many sports. I don't think that's fair. But I took a look at the basketball side of things. Whenever you go in the UPMC Event Center, there are 3 numbers on the wall, and one of them belongs to Sugar Monsack. She was inducted in 2014. Phenomenal women's basketball player. I could go down her list. She has RMU Athletics Hall of Fame inductee in 2014, but she has the Ring of Honor inductee in 2017 as well. She won NCAA Player of the Year. All of these, I could go on and on, as we said about Brianne. But she returned from her injury, and she helped guide the Colonials to their first ever NCAA tournament in 2007. And who doesn't love a comeback story, in addition to her long list of accomplishments? So I don't know. I think there's so many.
I know, RMU brings in so many talented women's sports. Yeah, it's crazy.
Though the women's basketball team had a lackluster season, there's still plenty to look forward to coming next season. With another chance to make a splash in the playoffs, who are you excited to see on the court, Maddie?
I am excited to see Phoenix Gideon. You know, I think that she had a terrific past season leading the team with a total of 391 points. She also had 8.3 rebounds per contest, and she also recorded 12 double-doubles, ranking her 3rd in the Horizon League. I mean, she is just classic player. She's a rising junior, and I think she'll be a great leader even for the team next year as well. I think we can expect a lot from her, and we will see a lot from her. So Phoenix is my choice.
I agree. Phoenix is a great choice. I have to go with Paris Kirk. Going back on the whole, everybody loves a comeback story. You know, I can't help but see a little bit of myself in her. I emphasize with the ACL injury and being out a year. But her comeback season, I think, is going to be incredible. I mean, she was a key contributor before her injury, and I think she should be a leader as the team goes through another transition period. And she's only a freshman, so I think she has a long career ahead of her. She's just ready to get out there, and I am pumped. She played in 13 games. She was on reserve, but she got in 13. So I think she's projected to start next year, and I think that she will be a key asset. I'm just pumped to see her get out there and come back. So
yeah, absolutely. We have an upperclassman player and a
sure.
up-and-coming player too.
I like
so
it.
you have
I like it.
have it all.
Nice.
As the spring season blossoms, spring sports kick off alongside it. Out of all of our spring women's teams, who do you think will shine above the rest and have the best spring of them all? Sam, who do you have cleaning it up for RMU?
Well, it's a tough choice between lacrosse and softball, but I decided to go with softball, just as I said they might win their conference next. Last year they made the Horizon League final, but unfortunately lost to Oakland, just like men's soccer, but we won't get into that. They were ranked 2nd out of 9 in the preseason poll. I'm sorry, I had to throw that in there. It just really upsets me to this day. And lacrosse was ranked 1st, so I'm almost arguing against my own point. But I just want to bring in the fact that I think softball is being overlooked. I think they have a lot of talent, and I think they can go really far. So I think this could be their year.
I definitely agree with that, but obviously I had to go with lacrosse. Women's lacrosse, they closed out their last season with an unfortunate loss in the MAC final, but they're back. They're back this season. They just finished their non-conference games. They have their first conference game against Youngstown State coming up this Saturday. So I think that, you know, they're ready to go. They obviously went 2-6, but I think they have some strong returning players, including Jenna Irwin, who was injured in last year's final game. But her teammates have said that she is back and better than ever. So I think we can expect a lot from the women's lacrosse team this year.
Sure.
I'm excited to see.
For sure.
Well, lucky for us, women's sports is year-round, with more star-studded lineups hitting the playing field this fall. With soccer and volleyball headlining the season, which team do you think will be the best in show in autumn? Sam, who do you think will take it?
Well, I'm going to have to go with soccer. Comparing them to volleyball, I think they had a stronger last season, and I think they're just going to continue to grow and move forward. They started out very, very strong. in preseason and as the season went on with lots of wins and ties. They had a 7-7-4 overall record. So I think that they will be very successful this season. And they started to fade off towards the end, but I think that they're able to realize their mistakes and learn and grow and come out pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to agree. I think soccer, like I was saying earlier, they had a great past season. I think volleyball also, I think they're going to bounce back next year. I have this feeling that they're
You have the feeling?
I have the feeling.
I'm
I know.
glad.
And when you have the feeling, the feeling's always right. So, but I think volleyball is, with the new coach this past year, it's probably hard to adjust to some new coaching tactics and everything like that. So but I definitely think that, women's volleyball team, they're coming.
You think they're coming?
They're
you think
coming.
They're going to serve up some greatness?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
so.
great.
That was a good one.
I'm sorry. All right, great.
As an ex-volleyball player, I also agree. When we come back, we'll give our final takes. Don't miss a minute here on Sports Talk in the Burgh.
Hey, Dad. I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad. That's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. This guy, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out?
Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Leave with you our final takes.
All right, here we go. Well, when I was asked what my final take was going to be, and I brought up that it would be about the Women's World Cup, I got a lot of, the Women's World Cup, when is that? Is that happening? Yes, it's happening in the summer. So as we begin. Is it soccer? Is it football? Football? Whatever you want to call it, you should be excited for it. The United States women's national soccer team is an absolute powerhouse, with big names returning like Alex Morgan and Carly Lloyd, just to name a few, and new talent on the rise, as we mentioned earlier. The team is loaded with talent. Last year, the hype around the Men's World Cup in Qatar brought in a lot of new viewers to the sport, and it should continue for the women, if not be even bigger because of their past and projected success. It is definitely growing, with more than 1 billion people watching the 2019 Women's World Cup. The final between the U.S. and the Netherlands was the most watched Women's World Cup match ever, averaging 82.2 million viewers, which was up 56% from the 2015 final. The 2023 tournament has even higher expectations, with the Women's World Cup expanding from 24 teams to 32 for the 2023 tournament, showing a necessary investment in women's soccer around the world. Several nations will be making their debuts, which are fun to look out for, including Vietnam, which faces the U.S. women's national team in its opening group stage match. There may be some similar scorelines, like when they clobbered Thailand 13-0 in the group stage in the last World Cup, and they were scolded for it, but though I think it's a little impressive how much they were able to dominate nonetheless. Ideally, one day women's soccer will be exploding even more around the world, so hopefully these scorelines will become fewer and fewer. But until then, I'm anticipating seeing some more scores like this, and I think the U.S. viewers should just be ecstatic about it. All in all, I just think the lack of appreciation for the sport of soccer in the U.S. is kind of crazy. It's the most popular sport in the world, but I think Americans take it for granted, and it's not appreciated as it should be. It is the World Cup, after all, which is truly around the world, which I'm not going to try to bash any other sports like baseball, because I absolutely love baseball, but unlike the World Series, which really only features teams pretty much from the U.S., so I think it's great that soccer is beginning to be appreciated more, and it should continue on the uprise as the U.S. women's soccer team goes on and likely three-peat a World Cup win. And we should give the women the same amount of hype as we gave the men, if not way more.
I agree. Thank you, Sam. I'm here to talk about a serious topic in which I currently am working on for a class of mine. Women's mental health in collegiate sports. Through research, interviews, and attending a panel, I have found that this is a topic that should be more focused on. Although sports in college does give these student athletes a set schedule, it is still difficult to maintain these everyday life. Every athlete operates differently based on a lifestyle and the sport that they're playing. All collegiate athletes work at a different pace and possess a different thought process. However, the recognition of women in sports has become more prominent in the last decade. The saying, "you throw like a girl," has become outdated. Here at RMU, the WLMP program held a panel of women and one man on February 9th, 2023. Several individuals work at the university as coaches, whereas the other panelists work in the sports industry as women. The group of 7 individuals were asked a series of questions about being a woman in sport or a woman in a predominantly male-dominated field. Anyone was welcome to join the event alongside women student athletes of Robert Morris University's campus supporting their coaches or friends on the panel. Natalie Russo-Long, a leadership coach, confidence mentor, and the vice president of the Pittsburgh Pirates People and Strategy, has had her fair share of voices in her head being a woman in sports. She said that women ourselves are our own inner critic. She explained that once I turned my inner voice in my head to be my inner coach, it became a lot easier. It becomes difficult for women in sports to not have that inner voice constantly telling them that they are not good enough, or what can help change or motivate them to stand tall together when depicted as small. I'll let you know when I find the answer.
Thank you so much for watching Sports Talk in the Burgh, Women's History Special. Here is some clips of our women in sports here at RMU.
This is a minute and 4 seconds.
Thank you.